Alright, so we got some 188 spoilers, and this chapter is pretty graphic, and things are not looking good for HAKARI, like, at all. If you were hyped on him winning, I hate to break it to you, but it's not looking good, I'll say. But let me catch you up to speed on what happened in the previous chapter, because this new chapter is kind of playing heavily off of that. Now, we did go into a flashback in the previous chapter, but from what I've been able to see so far, none of that is being discussed or expanded upon in this chapter. But anyway, HAKARI activated his domain expansion against Kashimo, and Kashimo got the exposition dump and everything. And considering that HAKARI was coming off of an odd numbered jackpot against Charles, coming into his next domain expansion, he had increased probability, meaning it was more likely for him to get a jackpot against Kashimo. And they go into a few hand-to-hand sequences, and during this, HAKARI does his thing, does his rolls, continues his abilities and whatnot, and he eventually gets the jackpot again. But this time it's even numbered triple sixes. And with that, once again, he gets infinite cursed energy, along with perpetual reverse curse technique, which essentially means that he can't die. And Kashimo is fully aware of this after it activates, but he also points out that because the jackpot was an even number, triple sixes, even if he opens his domain again after 4 minutes and 11 seconds, the increased probability will have ended. And that means that he won't hit the jackpot again as quickly. And considering that he mentioned that, it's very likely going to play a big part in this chapter. Then he also says, if I can get through the next 4 minutes and 11 seconds, I'll win. But that's how losers think. 4 minutes and 11 seconds is how long his infinite cursed energy jackpot will last for, along with his, perpetual reverse curse technique. Then Kashimo gets real hyped and starts generating a lot of electricity from him, and he's like, turn up the volume because this is a funeral for the living. For 4 minutes and 11 seconds, you may be unkillable, but I'll kill you anyway. And coming into this chapter, it looks like he's certainly trying to do that, because like I said, this is pretty graphic, and not because of Kashimo, but because of HAKARI. In this one leaked panel, he's straight up blowing HAKARI's face off. His musculature is exposed and everything. He looks like a ghoul from Fallout or something. And I'm assuming he's accomplishing this by using his lightning, but don't worry, he's not permanently maimed from this. His infinite cursed energy still appears to be active during this sequence, and his face does regenerate. Now, I don't know for sure, but I think in this chapter, Kashimo is testing the limits of HAKARI's infinite cursed energy and reverse curse technique here. He just keeps zapping him or just pummeling him, forcing him to keep regenerating and seeing if, I don't know, he can reach a threshold on it or see if there's some kind of exhaustion to it. But that ultimately doesn't really seem like it matters anyway, because apparently Kashimo blasts away HAKARI's rib right at the time his immortal mode, 4 minutes and 11 seconds, ended. And then Kashimo says it's over. So yeah, I guess we see the full 4 minutes and 11 seconds of infinite cursed energy in this chapter, and as soon as it runs out, Kashimo is blasting HAKARI. And I think his staff is finally coming back into play here, because it says by the look of it, Hajime blew up HAKARI's ribs by making lightning pass through HAKARI from the staff, which was left out since the start of the fight. And we see the staff on one side of the shipping yard, and this bolt of lightning travels across the entire thing, eventually hitting HAKARI. And it looks like right before it's going to hit him, I'm not sure if it's necessarily this lightning bolt, but there's another one that Kashimo is shooting from his hands at HAKARI, where it says electricity is seen surging through HAKARI, and the monologue says this is dangerous. And then we see the little chibi girl from the previous chapter that indicated increased probability, and she says death. And then HAKARI's face gets super veiny after this, and I guess he's getting hit, and it's either this lightning bolt or the lightning bolt that's traveling from the rod across the entire shipping yard, that once it successfully hits HAKARI, it literally blows out half of his stomach. We see a little bit of organs and some bone and stuff. This is for sure a fatal wound. It's not the typical battle anime abdomen wound where it hits them and then, I don't know, they can survive somehow. A big hunk of his left abdomen is being blown out here. And then at this point, this is when Kashimo says it's over, while he's looking through the hole in HAKARI's stomach, and HAKARI has this lifeless expression on his face with blood coming out of his mouth. So is HAKARI dead here? I'm inclined to think that he's not, right? Because like, why would Gege kill him off? I mean, he's relatively new. I mean, not his name. I mean, we found out about him very early on in the series, but his introduction is, I think, less than a year old at this point, right? Or maybe just around a year. So like, gonna kill him off already? I mean, that would certainly be a shock, aside from him just being new, but also because we've just come around to really starting to like this guy, or at least I have. I wasn't too warm on HAKARI when he was first introduced, like in his first couple chapters going against Yuji and all that stuff, but he's really started to shine like against Charles and Kashimo once we really started to see him, you know, get into his groove. So just to kill him now would really be devastating, not only to just the readers, but also to the story in general, because at this point they really do need HAKARI to successfully get through the culling game at this point. But at the same time, Jujutsu Kaisen is sometimes unpredictable and doesn't necessarily play by the rules. So like, it's very possible that HAKARI could just die here in an effort to like shock the reader, but also just hype up Kashimo further. Now, I'm not fully convinced because I haven't seen the full chapter here. I haven't even seen all the dialogue. It's very sparse, but from what we're seeing, it looks like this might be happening at the end of the chapter. And like I said, HAKARI's infinite cursed energy, you know, bonus, it's over now. So like, he's not going to regenerate from this unless he can manage to stay alive, activate his domain expansion again, and then instantly get the jackpot, and then the infinite cursed energy kicks back in again, and then he regenerates. But like, Kashimo's not going to let him do that, obviously. Now there's like 3 options here, I guess, going forward, aside from him just straight up dying here. 1, he reveals that he actually can perform reverse curse technique without the assistance of the jackpot, and he heals himself that way. Or there's some kind of secret stipulation to HAKARI's abilities here, and I don't know, something happens and he heals himself because of that. Or number 3, someone comes and saves him. We haven't seen Maki in the culling game at all, and she could make her big triumphant return here and wind up taking on Kashimo, who at this point maybe she can, because Maki is unbelievable at this point. She's pretty much the new Toji, but that doesn't really fix what's going on with HAKARI and his blown out abdomen here, unless she has some kind of item with her that can heal him, which I don't think she does. I guess it would have to be a Kotsu that shows up here, but we just came off of a Kotsu and Sendai in all of those chapters, so is Gege going to go back to that well so soon again? But I guess that would also be a nice little way to show that a Kotsu made some new rules added to the game, because he did have over 100 points. I don't know if Gege is going to retcon him getting 200 points, because he did say after the fact that technically a Kotsu shouldn't have had 200 points after defeating everyone in Sendai, even though it said it in the chapter. Even if he does add one rule, he can make it so that there is travel between the colonies, so that way a Kotsu can come here and link up with HAKARI, you know, fend off Kashimo for a little bit, and then reverse curse technique HAKARI's, you know, stomach back. But then it would be a Kotsu and HAKARI versus Kashimo, and surely Kashimo can't win at that point. That just seems too easy. I don't know, but let me know what you think about this in the comments, guys. And if you like the video, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.